And I want to jump a little bit into the challenge you had, or and how you overcome that, right? So, just as an overall mention to everybody who's watching us or will be watching us, in the future, we're talking about authentic leadership because it's something rare. It's difficult to find nowadays, but you don't find, you really find lots of leaders that are just playing the game, right? They are just falling into this trap of, that's what they want me to do, I'm going to do it, right? There's lots of leaders that are just being good soldiers out there. But if you ask what's their real secret sauce, to what you said at the beginning, they don't have their own sauce, right? It's truly like fast food, right? Like, it's the same. If you replace the leader, it comes another person, and the other person is going to do the same. So, um, which kind of routines, or I don't know, advice, practices you developed in your career to, first of all, and I know this is going to be probably a long answer, so feel free, because it's a long question, to first of all develop your own leadership style, discover your leadership style. Who am I? And this is how I lead. And then, over the years, over your career, what kind of exercise you did to revisit that and say, look, am I being true to that commitment that I have to my values, right? Or am I sometimes maybe entering into the automatic pilots, and I need to, revisit some things?
Yeah, no, and as you said, that's a difficult question. For me, I am an observer. I like to observe people, eh, and I see a lot of people speaking to others and using words that they don't mean. I mean, for example, and I worked so many years in the pharmaceutical industry that so many people go and say, well, we do this for patients. That's a big sentence and with a lot of impact. But for me, 80% of the time people are saying that because others are saying that. It's just a sentence that it fits nice when you work in this industry. But I think you cannot just use these cliche sentences if you don't mean of if you don't have an example and you create a story and you tell a story about that. If you just say this, oh well, we do this for patients, and then you go to the business results, it feels empty for me. And for me, and what I have learned is listening to leaders who really inspire me, where I was really convinced, wow, I was touched by that speech. I really believe what that person is saying. And every time I speak and trying to think about the routines that you were mentioning, I think what I'm going to say, I'm not saying to learn my presentation by heart. It's just what are the messages and where I don't want to go and where I want to go. So that's for me is important, and how I want the audience to live after I say something. And that comes with being spontaneous and have a little bit of sense of humor, but also trying to bring personal stories about something that is happening with my mother, my kids, a friend, someone who's sick, who's very close to me, because then people connect. And then you see how people in the audience start to look to your eyes and they are really interested in what you're saying. So that for me pays my day when I feel that people are really, really listening, because you are many times just seeing someone there, but really disconnecting and taking your brain to another dimension because you are not interested. So that for me is important. Watch leaders that inspire me and try to replicate and use some techniques or things that they are doing that I could use. I would say that it's also, you always say when you speak, I want this to be interactive. You need to force that interaction, because you always say, I want this to be interactive. After 1 hour, nobody said anything. So you need to stop and you need to ask someone and try to feel how the audience is feeling or thinking about the topic, and then you need to adapt and switch. And I don't think it's nice and it's okay to change a little bit the direction of travel because you feel it's right to do it based on the comments people are doing. So So for me, there's not an easy answer, but the more you open your listening skills, your visual skills, your senses, you are going to have a better perception on how to connect with others, no?
Yes, and I love what you said. And for those watching us, I'm a big fan of that as well, which is observe, right? Observation, pay attention to others, and try to find in other people what are you looking for, right? If you are looking for authenticity, look at other leaders and observe with open heart, and you're gonna clearly see, oh, that person is very authentic. So maybe I start to pay more attention to that person, and I start to kind of learn from that person, right? Maybe that person can become a mentor of you in the company, and things like that. And on the other hand, you're going to pay attention. You're going to clearly see this other people. Okay, that one not so authentic, and do you really want to follow people that are not aligned with your values, right? And I think that's where leadership becomes interesting, because we start to think that, where do I want to work? I mean, in terms of your company, which company you want to work for, or if you're already working in a company, you want to progress in that place, you want to go to the next position, the next job. But I've been paying a lot of attention to that, like to do my self diligence, to say, well, fine, I think I want to do that, but who is the leadership, right? Who are the people from the leadership? What's the culture they have there? Is that aligned with my values or not? And make that analysis, make that case, right?
No, I absolutely agree, and I think the top leadership, they really set the bar for the rest of the organization. And I follow many CEOs in social media because I like to listen, and I have seen examples of new CEOs who join an organization and they start to change the environment. And I had the chance to speak for a company a couple of months ago, and everybody was talking about their new CEO and how excited they were. And I asked, why this is so exciting? Because everybody's talking about that person. And it's on small things, on how people feel they are talking to someone who really is listening to the needs of the organization, who's walking in the corridors, who's learning the names of everyone in the office, who's changing the work environment and how many days people need to be in the office, listening. And that's, in 2 months, you really can send a very, very positive energy. And then others in other organizations start to talk about that person. So leadership is very important.